what you say I am. I'm your financier. I'm your supernatural debt cancellation. I am. Why, Brother Copeland, would you think a poor person should give? Absolutely. I am. I'm a new person. I'm a new man. I'm a new woman. Oh, I like that. I'm a new boy. I'm a new girl. Oh, I confess that I am. I'm here. I am the one. I am. Raise your voice. I'm the Jubilee. I am. Ken Copeland, you pay attention to me. I am. I'm 83 years old. Get up! And you go around saying I'm healed. But you hypocrite, you're not healed. You're just saying that trying to get somebody to give into your ministry. I am. It's not time to stop tithing. And tonight we are going to invest in this ministry. I'm a new person. I'm a new man. I'm a new woman. Oh, I like that. I'm a new boy. I'm a new girl. Oh, I confess that I am. I'm here. I am the one. I am. Raise your voice. I'm the Jubilee. I am. Ken Copeland, you pay attention to me. I am. I am. I am. Put it in reverse. Raise your voice when I've released that power. Whoa! I'm here. I am the one. I am. Raise your voice. I'm the Jubilee. I am. Ken Copeland, you pay attention to me. I am. I'm 83 years old. Get up!
Good afternoon or good evening, and welcome to the Vanguard for Spike, Hamish Judenson, starring in Star Wars Attack of the Klutz. Cohen, I am Matt Wright, and together we are traversing the muddied waters of freedom.
Attack of the Klutz is actually accurate, folks, because I stabbed myself, and because I'm a very smart person, and I was eating very excitedly, rapidly. I was very excited about and yes, it was salmon, my salmon-based meal, and you really, it's only the fork that needs to come up. I don't know why the knife also came up, but folks, thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to like and share and subscribe to all the, that says like, share, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to like this wherever you're watching it, wherever you are on, however you're listening to this or watching this. Be sure to share it right now. And be sure to like and follow us right now. And if you're doing it on YouTube, be sure to hit the old bell. Because if you don't hit the bell, then your phone will not blow up with notifications every time we go live. And I would hate for that to happen. For you and for us mostly, because I mean because we don't get as many views. So be sure to do that. I did not shave. This is not from, well, I did shave, but this is not from shaving. I literally stabbed myself.
It was just a very close shave.
It was with a steak knife. Yeah, with a steak knife.
Well, first and foremost, I would like to thank the wonderful people at siestacava.com. siestacava.com for the fantastic kava that I am drinking on tonight's episode.
And I'd like to thank Le Bleu for this delicious, ultra pure water made in America. Where? Well, that's unsettling. Made somewhere in America. I'm not happy about that at all. Where is this from?
Please tell me I'm going to look it up. Arizona. Le Bleu.
It doesn't say where it's from. It just says it's pure. What the hell does that even mean? It says where the company's located. Oh, well. Yum, yum, Bulavanaka. Can I drink with this Band-Aid on? I don't know if I can drink with this Band-Aid on.
It says Tasmanian rainwater is inside, but it's processed and packaged in North Carolina.
Oh, okay. How do you process water?
From Tasmania.
Yum. That's great, guys. Well, this episode, of course, is brought to you by Ginsu, which apparently you should not. It wasn't Ginsu. This episode is brought to you by the Libertarian Party Waffle House Caucus, the fastest growing waffle-related caucus in this or any other. Oh, I'm going to have to move the thing, aren't I? Yeah, because that's going to be everywhere. There we go. Hold on. Waffle-related caucus in this or any other country in America. Be sure to become a member today by going to the Facebook group Libertarian Party Waffle House Caucus. And if you want to become an official accredited member of the caucus, just go to muddywatersmedia.com, click on the old store button, and then go and there's a button link to purchase the buttons. Be sure to do that as soon as this show is over, or even right now if you have another device, and you can do that. This episode, of course, is also brought to you by the Gravy King. This episode is brought to you by Nug of Knowledge, smokable CBD oil. People who smoke this weed find that it helps them with their joint pain and with their overall sense of feeling. Well, they're high. They feel good. That's what they say it does for them. Nug of Knowledge is not your typical CBD supplier because they are selling weed, but also because every bit of the proceeds or a certain amount of the proceeds goes towards helping end the disastrous war on drugs. They also have a compassionate use program where they give their product away to veterans and disabled people and others who are unable to afford weed. And so if you go to nugofknowledge.com, you can get some today. Be sure to use checkout code SPIKE for 10% off your order. What a time to be alive. This episode, of course, is also brought to you by Joe Solosky for Pennsylvania governor. Joe Solosky is the key. Why did that happen? Joe Solosky is the key to Pennsylvania's success. And if you go to joesolosky.com, you can find out how to help him in his run for governor. He is running as a libertarian. You may have heard of them. With the Libertarian Party, and he is running, so be sure to help out Joe. This episode, of course, is brought to you by personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, who is also the sponsor of a thing that we do later, but he is the greatest personal injury attorney in the Tampa Bay area of Florida. If you're in the Tampa Bay area of Florida and you find yourself personally injured, well, I have some fantastic news for you. This too shall pass. Then also, you can get some money, possibly, by calling Chris Reynolds or going to chrisreynoldslaw.com, because I don't remember Chris Reynolds' number, but it should be on his website. And if you contact him, he'll probably, I assume, be able to get some money for you. Something. That'll be good. chrisreynoldslaw.com. Don't go out and intentionally get injured, but if it happens, chrisreynoldslaw.com. And of course, this episode is, of course, brought to you by South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster, who was, and forever shall remain a BIH.
A BIH.
Matt?
Now, great news. We have a very special guest coming on today.
Yes.
Who is not in the Tampa Bay area, but could also utilize the professional law services of personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, should she need to, because he is licensed in all of Florida.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I should stop saying the Tampa Bay area of Florida then.
It's just easier for him since, he lives around here.
Yeah, but he might be missing out on big cases. We might have
He could be
in,
missing
like, the
out.
Keys
We should. We might have
who's
people
like,
in
I just
Miami
got
who need
personally
him.
injured for millions of dollars, but I guess I can't go with Chris because he's just in Tampa Bay.
Right. So let me welcome from Miami, here in Florida, here in my home state of Florida, Martha Bueno.
Uh-oh. Hey!
Okay, she's there.
Hello, I'm here. Hi.
Thank you so much for coming on the show,
Thanks
Marta.
for coming on. Welcome.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm so excited. I've always wanted to be on your show, Spike. And
Well,
Matt,
it's
of course.
finally happened. It has finally happened. You're finally on the show.
It's
I'm at my
here.
best.
This moment has arrived.
The moment has arrived, and I am here with my. Hey, thanks so much for coming on. And so, Marta, before we get started, whenever we have a guest on our show for the first time who's a libertarian, we always ask, what is it that got you into libertarianism and the Libertarian Party? Was it kind of like an aha moment or sort of a gradual evolution of time? Tell us the Marta Bueno story.
Oh, I wish it was an aha moment. Am I freezing a little bit?
Your video is, but your audio is okay.
Right.
I don't know how to fix that. Let me try and.
That's
so,
probably
anyways,
not on your end.
Huh?
That's not on your end. That's a Skype thing.
It's probably
Gotcha.
Skype, which we hate and is terrible.
That or my terrible Wi-Fi that I cannot upgrade because there's a monopoly in my area and I have to have Comcast. So anyways, I did not have an aha moment. I had many aha moments. Basically the war when it started in early 2000s with 9/11, I couldn't figure that out. And then just over the years, I've been a business owner for a long time. And every time I had to write big checks to the IRS, to my silent partner that didn't help, that was a big, moment when I couldn't afford, certain things for the business. And I still had to write those big checks. It really hit me that the IRS, they ride the good times with you when you're a business owner, and when the times are tough, they don't really care and they still expect their check. So I think that really was the big turning point. I already knew I was a libertarian before that, and then it just kind of cemented it. And then, of course, watching John Stossel and, just over the years, little moments that I was like, yep, this is definitely what I am.
That's awesome. Your silent partner that doesn't do anything. That's the best reference to the IRS I've ever heard. That is a great way
to put it.
Yeah,
well,
that's awesome.
If you have a partner, you expect your partner to help you out and carry their weight. But here I was paying, big sums of money. The more successful you become, the more money you have to pay them. So it was actually decentivizing. I didn't, there were times where I was like, man, if only we could push this off to some other time, or, if we could only do something different, just so that I wouldn't have to make that huge payment. And, I don't know if everybody that watches the show is aware, but you also have to prepay the government. And so that was a little inconvenient as well. You have to estimate what you're going to sell during the year and then make quarterly payments. And if you don't do that, you get charged on top of it. So, the amount of time I spent working for the U.S. government to collect my own taxes was just pretty bad. Yeah.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, there's a good bit of the money. Some of it's being taxed from you directly, but thankfully a good and increasing amount of their budget is being run up in debt that you and future generations will have to pay off with interest. I hope oh no. I was hoping that would be a consolation, but
and I mean,
yeah.
I don't know when this happened, but there's a relatively good chance that your tax dollars went to bombing third world countries.
That's another consolation. Yeah.
Right. I mean, if people find the silver lining anywhere, I don't know.
I mean, definitely my tax dollars have gone to putting people in jail for victimless crimes like cannabis. I'm sorry, Spike, you said earlier weed, and I must correct you. The correct term is cannabis. It just drives me crazy when people say weed. It's cannabis. So when people go to jail, especially for that, I'm an advocate for cannabis, and it really upsets me that my tax dollars go to pay to put people in jail for something that I enjoy so very much.
Yes, well, and we definitely we agree with that. It is your business what you put in your body, and the war on drugs has been an absolute failure. Unless what you wanted to do was help drug cartels and make it harder for addicts of other drugs to get help and make our streets less safe and basically just make everything worse, then yes, then that has definitely helped. Other than that, not so much. So let's talk about Miami. You are in Miami-Dade, and you are running for Miami-Dade Commission in District 10. Did I say that correctly this time?
Did. Hey,
yes.
you got
okay,
that
perfect.
one.
Okay, good. Thank you. Big ups to me. So what made you decide to run for that? Like what was it that you saw that made you realize that you needed to run for that spot?
I have been giving it some thought. I go and I speak before the commissioners on issues that matter to me. And I realized that I would go and I would speak and nothing would happen. They'd vote and they'd vote however they wanted. There's really no power for the people, for the constituents to go and try and make a difference. Even if you bring a big crowd, even if you give great arguments, there's just really no power in that. And so, during COVID especially, it kind of hit me that, the only thing that I can do is go run myself for one of these seats and try and make a difference. During COVID, they raised our taxes despite many things being closed, despite many, I'm sorry, I'm having a moment today. Despite schools being closed, despite, infrastructure, things like transportation being shut down, we were charged more on our property taxes. And I think that's a travesty. And nobody's even talking about it. So here I am talking about it.
Good. Well, that's good that you're doing that. I was just on a panel on Kennedy. I'm now name dropping. But I was on a panel on Kennedy, and we were talking about, whether the schools should reopen. And one of the panelists was saying, well, the schools reopening wouldn't be an issue if we had universal Wi-Fi or universal broadband. And I said, how is universal broadband going to stop the police from arresting someone for having to leave their kids at home because they have to go work and make a living because they don't have a nice, cushy stay-at-home job? Now, that may not apply to you, Marta, but there are, I'm sure, many people in your district who do have to go and work and are unable to, or have very restricted hours, or are having to pay money for childcare because they can't. Their kids aren't in school. And that's if they even have their job still, if with everything shut down in Miami the way that it is. And then, like you said, the property taxes went up, which meant that the rent went up, which meant that everything else went up. And it's, everything's costing more while people are making less money. Now, thankfully, it sounds like we're going to get another $1,400 a month from now, or not, maybe, who knows. But, it seems like that's not going to fix things. So, you're running for commission in Miami. Let's say that let's talk about this. What is your plan to get the message out as much as possible to the people of your district and really to the people of Miami and Florida in general?
Well, I have been going on a lot of different shows, obviously not as prestigious as you with Kennedy, but, here I am. I'm trying to get that message out. Take every opportunity, every time that somebody wants to quote me for something, I'm on everything that anybody will want to see me until you get tired of seeing me. I will also go door knocking from my area is pretty large. So I will do my best to get to as many areas as possible, do as many events. Just do what I can to get out there.
That's awesome. So that's great. Yeah, no, every time I see my notifications, because I'm subscribed to everything libertarian ever, and all my notifications, Marta Bueno, Marta Bueno, Marta Bueno's on Larry Sharp, Marta Bueno's on this podcast, Marta Bueno's on Brian Nichols, Marta Bueno's on, and I'm like, well, I'm not worried that Marta's not getting her name out there. Now, you also have an upcoming event this Friday. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
I do. And so, Spike, do we have any update on your weekend, how it's going?
It's I'll know in a couple hours. We'll see. We will see.
So I dropped the ball there. But we are having an event with Gloria Alvarez and Antonella Marti, which are very well known Hispanic libertarians. They are in town and they are going to be signing their books and they're going to be talking to us, and it's going to be great. Anybody that's in the area that wants to come out, it's going to be done at By Brothers, which is a cute little farm agriculture Cuban restaurant. And so, it's going to be fun. I hope everybody can make it.
A farm and Cuban restaurant hybrid.
Yes, it is adorable. I don't know how to describe it. It's something completely different. They've got got a petting zoo. I mean, I don't know. This is the most Miami thing I think I may have heard today. A farm, Cuban restaurant, and petting zoo. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
That is amazing.
It's great.
That is amazing.
It's totally
Miami.
That is
awesome.
It's what we do around here.
I was going to say only in Miami, yeah.
And is this happening in Miami, or is it happening outside, like in one of the surrounding areas?
Right. So before, what we did was we changed the location. It was in Miramar, which is actually Broward County. Right. And so we brought it down to Miami. Oh, okay. It's on the outskirts. Okay. Apparently, the only places you can actually throw events now in Miami are on the very outskirts of town. So we're doing it at a very outskirt of town location.
So this is a problem that we had back in October, Marta. Remember, I was there on the bus, and as we were, hours before we were going to get started, Miami police shut down the venue. Now, in that case, we were already there with the bus and the equipment and everything, so we just did it illegally outside, which ended up working out way better because everyone could hear us, because instead of being inside of a building by, us and however, 50, 100 people that would show up, instead we're outside with thousands of people walking by, and then we had a salsa party, which was my favorite part, frankly. So yeah, no, it's you really can't do anything in Miami right now, and so that's actually one of your goals. So let's say you get elected, you're now a commissioner for Miami-Dade's 10th district. What are some of the things that you want to do when you get in there?
So it's really a budget position. It's something we manage the money that comes into Miami-Dade, but then there's some small, so obviously I'd like to take care of the budget. I'd like to get rid of a little bit of waste wherever we can. And then, do the things that matter, possibly write legislation to decriminalize drugs in Miami. The biggest part is invite people to participate in what is going on in our own town. I think that during COVID, our commissioners also reduced the amount of time people could speak. It used to be 2 minutes, and they reduced it down to a minute. They really don't care to hear from people. And I think that's the wrong way to do, especially local government, which has so much control on people's lives. I think people need to know what's going on. It needs to be transparent. They need to be able to figure out easily what's on the agenda, when it's available, and be able to participate remotely now with Zoom or in person. It's been very difficult to be able to even follow what's going on with the commissioners. They don't have any intentions of hearing from us. And they actually moved the people, the speaking location to outside the chambers to where the Metro Rail passes. It's our train. So you can imagine trying to speak to commissioners through a microphone and a screen with the trains passing behind you. So, I mean, they can't make it any more obvious that they just don't care. So that's kind of a big deal for me. I think people need to be able to know what's going to happen and what's going on in their town and how their money is being spent.
So more fiscal responsibility in government, more allowing the people in the city to be able to make decisions for themselves, and then obviously having the people be able to have themselves heard. There's no reason with the technology we have now that the best way to do this is to have people standing next to the metro and hoping that they can hear the commission and that the commission can hear them. So these are all fantastic things. I know. Before Matt, do you have any other questions? Because before we give her a chance to plug all of her social media and website and all that stuff.
I was going to say there is a comment in here that says, as a woman in the LP who's getting more involved little by little, hearing you talk about why you decided to do this and get your voice heard is incredibly motivating. And we've had a couple of people ask where they can give you money.
Ooh. So I will send you guys a link if that's okay. It's I just got it set up today, believe it or not. I am running a little behind on all of those things, including my website. So I will send you guys the link, and hopefully you guys can post it for me there.
Yeah, absolutely.
We will put it out there.
If you send it over to me whenever you can, and I'll post it. If you do it during the show, I'll post it right in the notes or right into the comments so people can donate directly.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
And so how can they reach you on social media in the meantime?
So I'm on Twitter at Martha Bueno 18. I'm on Instagram as Martha for Miami and Facebook as Martha for Miami.
Very good.
And
Very good.
On Twitter, I'm on a Twitter war, so be careful what you tell me there. I'm on fire apparently with socialists. So.
Yeah, if you want to help Marta argue with socialists, mostly in Spanish, then go join her on Twitter, and you can have some fun. Marta, thank you so much.
Bilingual.
Yeah, bilingual. Yeah, you can do it in English or Spanish. The thing is, and I'm learning because I'm in the process of I'm in the process of becoming fluent. I'm about 13% of the way of becoming fluent, which means I'm getting there. But thankfully I've learned that in the meantime I can use Google Translate for anything that comes up that I don't recognize. So Marta, thank you so much for coming on, and I will get in touch with you very shortly to let you know if I am able to still do the Miami event. And we hope that you will be successful in your run for Miami-Dade Commission District 10. I did it.
10.
Yes, it's a mouthful. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys having me on.
No, absolutely. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Good luck in your race.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And folks, we are going to do a quick intermission while we switch over to something that isn't Skype, because we hate Skype, but we have to use it when we have guests, and it is the absolute worst. Yeah, it is the absolute worst. So we will be leaving Skype.
Where now I'm in Spike's side.
I hate Skype so much. So we are going to be switching over. And if anyone knows of any programs besides Skype that allow us to have different feeds come in of video, don't say Zoom. Zoom doesn't do that. And also don't say Messenger or Meet. They don't do that either. If you know of another one that isn't Skype, we'd love to hear it. But in the meantime, here is an intermission, and we will be right back. So, folks, for those who don't know, this a couple days ago was the anniversary of the beginning of the raid on the Waco compound back in 1993, I believe. Yeah, and the ATF every year makes a point of commemorating the people who started the raid, who died as a result of invading the property of the Branch Davidians in Waco. They never note the fact that there were multiple chances for them to be able to get David Koresh when he wasn't on. Well, first of all, that all gun laws are an infringement, and therefore all attempts to enforce them are an act of aggression, but also that even if they had wanted to grab him, they could have simply done so. The multiple times that he took his motorcycle himself and went into town, they could have easily grabbed him then. They obviously wanted to start a fight. They were looking to justify a budget increase that they were requesting, and the best way to do that was to create a big boogeyman that they had to fight, and it resulted in dozens of civilians, including children and even newborns, dying as a result of it. And so we remember those who were lost to this wanton act of aggression, and we simply will not rest until the ATF and other similar organizations are in the dustbin of history where they belong.
Yeah. That was not a fun video to make, by the way. Like that was just, it was like, I get to make a lot of, like, I make pretty much all the videos that, okay, first of all, I don't make the music that plays at the beginning of the episodes. I can't give you that. But I put together a lot of the videos that we do here, and that was one of the harder ones to make, because just seeing that list of names and having to put each one in and connect with it in some way made it really difficult to do for the entire thing. And that should have never happened. That should have never happened. All of those people should still be alive.
Yeah, there was no reason for it. Like, again, even if they wanted to enforce their warrant, David Koresh was routinely leaving the compound for the days and weeks leading up to when they decided to raid it. They knew that. They just decided to storm a compound full of people that they fully believed to be armed with machine guns or automatic weapons and grenades. So if anything, the deaths of those ATF agents are on the ATF and Department of Justice leadership as well. Back then, ATF was part of the Department of Justice, not the Homeland Security, and there was absolutely no reason for that. There was no justification whatsoever for them to do that. Everyone involved who died, including those ATF agents, that falls on Janet Reno and the leadership of the ATF. And again, it's time for them to go as soon as possible. Now, with that said, we are now moving on to our next segment, which is the Black Cold Brewed Caffeinated Rapid Fire segment, brought to you by Black Cold Brewed Organic Coffee, the most delicious coffee to ever be horrifically misspelled. They spell it BLVCK because nothing means anything anymore. If you go to Black Brews, blvckbrews.com, you can use code MW to get free shipping on all of your black organic coffee products, Matt. And Matt, you've actually had black coffee. It's pretty good, right?
I have. No, black coffee is some of the best at-home cold brewed coffee I've ever had. They ship it to you. You get it really quick, and it comes in this little. I'm not really sure what it's made out of, pouch, and they're just like, put it in. Don't put it in filtered water. Get distilled water. Put it in distilled water and let it sit for 24 hours, and it's got this sweetness to it. There's no bitterness, and you will be riding just absolutely high on the caffeine all day long, and it's fantastic.
Well, you know who isn't sweet and does have some bitterness? New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, who is quickly becoming the pariah of the Democratic Party, Matt.
Yeah. After being responsible for the deaths of over 13 13,000 New York seniors and blaming everyone in the state not named Cuomo for that decision. He now has multiple sexual misconduct allegations against him, and a new investigation.
Fantastic. So first, we've got 3 and counting so far. So the first one is Lindsay. That might be misspelled. Lindsay Boylan. Like Lindsay Boylan, who came out first. We first touched on this. That's some great wording, Matt. We first talked about this in December. She came out first with allegations about Cuomo being inappropriate with her, but she was refusing to talk to the press about it or give any evidence. She published an essay last Wednesday laying out the scope of allegations. I remember at the time we said that, you got to wait for some actual evidence and that this could very well be true. And then I think we probably joked about his pierced nipples knowing us.
Right. Yeah, that sounds... Actually, I went to try to find that video, and I said, this is going to end in a pierced nipple joke, so I'm not going to bother.
Absolutely. So I brought it up instead. Now, her allegations were actually backed by Cuomo, who said that all of the meetings she alluded to took place, but she meant it wrong.
He gave the receipts. Yeah. Like, a lot of times people will say you need to have receipts whenever you're making allegations like that. He gave the receipts.
He provided
it was on the plane. It was here. And he was like, yeah, no, this happened. Well, we were there to, not that this happened, but we were there together.
We were there together. Yeah. He gave the merchant copy of the receipts, which is the one that you sign. But I often take that one home and leave the customer copy. Which it turns out that actually doesn't matter.
That doesn't make a difference. No,
they don't care. I don't know why they differentiate.
They don't.
No, but why they actually print like, oh, this one's for the merchant, this one's for the... How about you say leave one for us, please?
Right. Please. As a person who worked in the service industry for many years, please leave one. I don't care.
Yeah, because otherwise there's no tip.
Right.
Like the charge already went through. Now it's the tip. So yes.
Charlotte Bennett came out next saying the governor asked her if she was in an open relationship and whether or not she had sex with older men.
Oh, this guy's a creep. Oh.
Now Cuomo has denied aspects of each of these women's allegations, but he did issue an apology. He said, I now understand that my interactions may have been insensitive or too personal. Some of the things I have said have been misinterpreted as unwanted flirtation. To the extent anyone felt that way, I am truly sorry. And this is
how do you misinterpret? Do you have sex with older men?
One of these women, he said, can you eat the whole sausage or put the whole sausage in your mouth?
Even like, that is okay. That is still like really, Andrew. But even still,
is it though?
Have you ever asked a woman if she can eat the whole sausage without meaning something?
No.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's but even that one's like, I wanted to know if she likes sausage. Do you have sex with older men?
Are you in
how is that misinterpreted? Are you into open relationships and have sex with older men? I cannot wait for this guy to say, the nursing home residents completely misinterpreted the purpose of me shoving COVID patients in there. They took it way too seriously by dying. I just like, do you have sex with older men? Yeah. How do you interpret that? Well, you tell us in the comments. If I ask you, hey, you like sex with Jewish guys? How are you going to take that in the context of that conversation? And by the way, I'm not asking you if you do that because that's none of my business and I'm happily married. I'm saying if a Jew who stabbed himself in the lip were to say something like that to you.
For the women in the audience, if a older gentleman were to come up to you and say, are you in a relationship? Is it open? Do you have sex with older men?
And can you eat the whole sausage?
I want to know how you would interpret that.
Yes, let us know how you would interpret that.
Sausage in your mouth.
So let's assume that those three things have been said, and then in a conversation about meat, he says, "Hey, can you put that whole sausage in your mouth?" How, like, just the confluence of things happening here, but really just the one, just the "Do you have sex with older men?" to your employee,
right? To somebody who worked, to an aide in your office,
to an aide in your office.
One of these women, I believe it was Charlotte Bennett, but don't quote me on that. But I believe it was Charlotte Bennett. He made references to Monica Lewinsky and Bill Clinton. And she was like, yeah, it was a 2-decade-old
yeah, it's like 24 years
reference
old, 20,
at the time, but I still understood
old.
what he was saying.
Oh, you know what's so creepy is that was like how old she is. Oh God.
No, so yes and no. Like none of these girls are like 19. They're all in their mid-20s.
So they were like toddlers when Lewinsky happened.
Yeah, if.
Oh, it's so creepy.
Cuomo was visiting the White House.
So failed Democratic presidential candidate who part-times as mayor of New York City, Bill de Blasio, commented on the apology by saying he seemed to be saying, "Oh, I was just kidding around. Sexual harassment isn't funny." Yes, correct.
Yeah, that's true.
Alessandra Biaggi, do you want to hear? You can tell us what Alessandra said.
A New York state senator who worked in the governor's office in 2017 said he's actually saying that he meant for those words to be playful, and there is no realm of playful. When
How is this playful?
It's not. When a governor of a state asks a young staffer who is 25 years old if she has sex with older men or if she has sex outside of her relationship, that is not only inappropriate, it is abusive. And this is
she's your employee. Oh my gosh, that's so disgusting. So she was 25. So the Monica Lewinsky scandal, the impeachment happened in 98. So 25, so 20.
98 or 99?
Let's say she turned 25 in 2020. So that means 95 she was born. She was 3. Like, it's just so gross. Now, thankfully, there's a third woman who came out, Anna Ruch, R-U-C-H. And she came out last night accusing Cuomo of unwanted advances. And her allegations are pretty credible because there's literally a photo of him doing it to her, grabbing her by the face while she looks on just horrified and bewildered.
And like, I know it's the bar lighting here, but he's coming out looking like
the devil,
Lucifer. Yeah,
Lucifer, like a demon. Like, why is he that red?
Like, that's a bar. Like, that is a bar light. I know what it is. I have seen, like, you can see it on her hair. He is just standing like directly in the bar light. Explain
the 7-inch overbite.
Yeah, that one I can't. That's
where the fangs come out. He's turning into Satan as he grabs her by the face. And so, according to Miss, we'll just go with Rooch. According to Anna, Cuomo accosted her back in September of 2019 at a wedding reception. So at least he's not grabbing women like this during the pandemic, if there's one thing. She's now 33. So I guess, that's slightly better. But she had thanked Governor Cuomo for his toasting of her newlywed friends, in response to which he put his hand on her bare lower back. And she removed his hand and prompted him to then say that she seemed aggressive and to do this thing with his grabbing her face. So, okay, so when you're in your... Go ahead.
Wait, when you put your hand on somebody's back, the small, I'm assuming the small,
yeah,
the
like
small of the back is what I'm assuming.
I think she had like a dress on. You can't really tell in this, but I think she had like one of those where the back is open,
the open
type
back,
deals. Yeah.
Backless or whatever.
Yeah.
So he puts his hand on the small of the back. She pushes the hand away and says that he's being aggressive. And
no, he said she's being aggressive.
Oh.
So she's like, hey,
I misread that 1,000 times.
Don't touch my butt, please, or my back or whatever. He's like, hey, you're being aggressive. Then he does this MMA move on her. And I think he's got her ears. And so he grabs her, places his hand on her cheeks, as they put it. Then he asks her if he can kiss her. He did it so loudly that a nearby friend could hear it. She then pulled away, understandably horrified and bewildered. She said, I was so confused and shocked and embarrassed, according to her statement to the New York Times. She said, I turned my head away and I didn't have any words in that moment.
Now, is it... I don't remember if this was Anna or if this was one of the other women, but didn't he kiss one of them on the lips? Didn't he? I think he kissed one of them on the lips, and then she looked at her friend and said, did he just really put his lips on mine?
I think that was the Lindsay, the first woman.
Was that Lindsay? I know.
Yeah, I think so.
I know I read that about one of them. I don't remember which one. I don't know
how
many people here.
This one came out like last night, so anything we've read in the past few days was something. Yeah.
I saw this one this morning when I was getting ready for work. But for anybody here who has either read the book or seen the movie High Fidelity, stars John Cusack, great movie. But in it, there's a scene where I think he's in high school, and he said that he broke up with a girl because she wouldn't put out, and they broke up. He said he went to grab her boob and she pushed it away. So then he decided to go for somewhere else. And in the book, it says that's like asking to borrow 20 quid, because it's written by a Brit, asking to borrow 20 quid and then getting turned down and asking for 1,000 pounds. And yeah. Right. So
yes,
Andrew Cuomo is living that.
Yeah. And again, now we have an actual photo of him. There, in no way can this be interpreted as wholesome. Look at her face. She is horrified.
That is terrified.
That is a woman who is trying to put on a brave face because they're at a party, and clearly this must be okay because he's doing it in front of everyone. And, but how do you that
is what am I supposed to do? This is the governor of New York, and I don't want to be rude, but I also want him to get off of me.
Yeah, and look, you can see her hands are trying to move his hands, and look how much bigger. He's such a freaking creep. Oh my gosh. Such a creep. He's grabbing young women. Hey, you have sex with guys like me? Ew, God. There are two things I don't like. There are many things I don't like. The two things I can't stand are a thief and a pervert. And so, the New York Attorney General is launching an investigation into Cuomo. The Attorney General, Letitia James. Yes?
So, what I found out about this, actually, is that initially, Cuomo said, I'm going to appoint this judge to do an investigation. To which Lindsay Boylan was like, no, you do not get to pick your own judge, jury, and executioner.
Right.
That is absolutely not okay. So... Then the governor's office actually asked for the New York Attorney General to launch this investigation. And the Attorney General, Letitia James, said Monday she received a formal referral from Cuomo's office, granting her the ability to choose an investigator to look into the allegations. But, a lot of this does feel like them investigating their own.
Yeah, this feels very much like the government investigated the government and found that the government fell within the standards and guidelines of the government, and therefore the government won't be prosecuting the government. But who knows? Because this is a political thing. They got pictures of it. This is he might. And there are prominent Democrats in New York calling for him to resign. He might not be able to survive this.
He may not survive this one.
Thankfully, this is of course his biggest scandal. There's definitely nothing worse that he's done that resulted in, I don't know, thousands of elderly people dying. and
my
then
favorite
lying
part
about
about
it.
this graphic that you have made is the fact that you've got Sloth from the Goonies in dead center.
Yes, that's intentional.
Yeah. And again, this man is responsible for the death of over 13,000 New York seniors.
Which he then lied about.
And literally
Yep.
blamed every single person in the state of New York not named Cuomo that
Yes.
he could possibly blame.
Yep, it was everyone else's fault. And they misinterpreted it.
Right.
So speaking of someone who probably is going to be out here claiming that he was misinterpreted, but we have video of him saying it, the head of the Negotiating Rights Away GOP slush fund that you may call the NRA was at CPAC, and he had something very interesting to say about gun laws. Now, you're probably thinking, the head of the NRA, surely he's going to talk about how gun laws are unnecessary and make things worse, and we need to get all the gun laws off the books because the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That's what the Second Amendment says. Let's see how close to that we are.
But let me tell you right now, the dirty little secret politicians and the media won't tell you.
Here we go.
They have the power right now,
Yeah.
today, to clean up their cities, to
Gonna fix
save
it.
hundreds of thousands of lives, and put violent crime to a virtual end.
Yeah, here we go. Second
All
Amendment.
they have to do is enforce the existing gun laws.
Wait.
That's it. Go out and do your job. If you
That smattering
really
of
want to
applause.
stop violent crime, take criminals off the streets. When you do that, you know what happens? Crime goes down. Everything else, it's smoke and mirrors.
So this was the head of the NRA calling for the police and governments to do their job of enforcing the myriad of infringements on the Second Amendment because, as he put it, it will save hundreds of thousands of lives and clean our streets of criminals, otherwise known as people who are exercising their Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms.
Now, he was speaking this at CPAC.
Yeah.
A lot of people at CPAC still believe in the NRA. Did you hear the applause when he was doing that? That was like a golf clap when somebody not named Tiger Woods hits a shot. Like,
yeah, I've heard clips from Trump talking and Pete Hegseth, who was on the same panel I was on with Kennedy. I'm name dropping again. But the reason I watched it was to get an idea about who I was going to be on the panel with, and his applause lines were a lot louder than that. That was maybe 50 people who were like, "Yay, reducing crime." One person I heard go, "Ooh, that's definitely a hired." Someone who works for the NRA.
Right. That was his personal assistant. His personal assistant. Now, I don't know if you know this. You may. I just found this out yesterday. He is also in a lot of trouble with the NRA because he was using it as his personal piggy bank, and he had to pay back over $300,000 to the NRA.
I'm shocked. I am shocked.
Shocked.
I
And
am
he was
shocked.
also, I found out today, he was in the new Animaniacs reboot. They did a satire of him, and the guy's name was Dwayne La Pistol. And they made him seem like this terrible, I want everybody to have guns guy. And I'm like, man, they did not think this one through because
this is the problem. This is the problem with the political discourse in this country. In the common parlance, if you talk to normies, they think the NRA are the pro-gun wackos, right? Us. They think they're us. They think like the people, we're the ones who unironically think that nuclear weapons should be legal, okay? So we should be that baseline of the furthest to the pro-gun or pro-weapons argument. But the media allows for the NRA to be what they consider the extreme. Well, he just presented the extreme as, we'll just enforce what's on the books right now. No,
get rid of them.
Things are less safe because of these laws. And not only did he say enforce them, he said by enforcing them, then we'll get dangerous criminals off the streets. Like, crime is high because, and this is their own talking points. The NRA is the first one to go, you know, criminals don't care about the law, and that's why the crime's higher, because you got the, but then here he is saying, yeah, we gotta get the criminals off the street. Which is
all you have to do is enforce the gun laws. Well,
it was the NRA who came up with a very correct phrase, that when you outlaw guns, only outlaws will have guns. And now he's saying, so take the outlaws and put them in jail. No.
Yep.
End the gun laws. So join the GOA or the, what's the other one? I always forget what it's called.
Second Amendment Supporters for Liberty.
Possibly. But there's another one, something gun rights. Anyway, GOA, Second Amendment Supporters for Liberty. There's a group for gender and sexual minorities, LGBT people called Pink Pistols. If you're on the left, there's all sorts of left-wing pro-gun clubs. There is no reason to join the NRA. Like, the NRA is absolute hot-ass garbage. It is a slush fund for the GOP that has been set up by gun manufacturers who have a vested interest in limiting your choices because then you have to buy their crap. And it's really just really, 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 really bad. And I remind everyone that every single federal gun law that is on the books was either sponsored by the NRA, like the NFA, which started all this nonsense in the modern era, or they've signed off on it and said that they were okay with it. He just said that. He literally just said, not only are we okay with all the gun laws, just enforce them. Just don't make any new ones, guys. That's considered pro-gun now.
Right.
So screw him.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be there much longer. I really don't. I don't think the next person is going to be better, but I don't think he's going to be there much longer.
Sure. I mean, he might be gone, but I also don't.
I mean, the NRA is not going to change.
It's the NRA. Yeah, it's
Right.
he's not the problem. The NRA is the problem.
I agree, but putting somebody like that at the head of it is that's a bigger problem than the NRA usually is.
That's fair. It also makes it easier for me to convince people to leave the NRA and go join an actual gun rights group. So it's kind of it's a mixed bag for me. I'm not going to lie. National Gun Rights Association.
Yep.
That's NGRA.
As soon as I saw
GOA,
it, I was
NGRA.
like,
That's the one right there. There are so many other better organizations that are not tied to a political party and are Black Guns Matter is another one. Maj Touré. There's a lot of people out there who are trying to actually push a consistent message of being able to defend yourself and the fact that all gun laws are an infringement on your right to keep and bear arms. All of them. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. As I was saying on Kennedy when Pete was trying to convince me to join the Republican Party live, I said, I am not going to join a party that signed off on red flag laws and bump stock bans and suppressor bans, especially not red flag laws. That's a violation of your Second Amendment right. It's a violation of your Fifth Amendment right, arguably your Sixth Amendment right, and really arguably your First Amendment right. It's also a violation of habeas corpus. It's a violation of pretty much the whole route of things. Any person can anonymously call and tattle on you and claim that you're a danger with no proof, and the police show up and tell you to give all your weapons to them at like 5 a.m. And Donald Trump is 100% behind it.
If you don't wake up, they'll just shoot you in your sleep.
Yeah, and if you don't wake up, they'll assume that you're plotting, a counterattack and shoot at you like they did to Duncan Lemp, and like they did to Breonna Taylor in that raid. That was a drug raid, but same thing. It's no knock raids for guns. And Donald Trump is a huge supporter of it. That's where the whole due process later, take the guns first, then due process.
Due process later.
Yeah, that's the opposite of what the Constitution says about due process. But here we are. And the NRA and the GOP are 100% behind that. So yeah. So here is something that we are 100% behind. And that is the personal injury attorney, Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, anchor call-in moment, where you can call in. You can go to anchor.fm/muddy. I should probably pull it up. Muddied Waters. And you can leave a message for us. There's a button there that says leave a message. And in addition to leaving a message, you can also, after you've left a message, there's another button there that says donate. And you can make a donation to us to help us continue keeping this beautiful muddied content going for you. Now, you don't have to make a donation for us to play or answer your message, but we will like you more.
That's true. That is absolutely true. And I just wanted to say real quick that I'm going to have to kind of talk a little bit through to get there. Well, Spike, fill the next 12 seconds.
So, folks, the reason that I have this, if you didn't tune in earlier, the reason I have this, when I say I stabbed myself, I wasn't trying to hurt myself, but I wasn't trying not to, apparently, either. I was eating some delicious salmon, and I was in a bit of a food. You know when you get so excited about eating your meal that you're almost in a little bit of a panic? Like, I got to eat. And then imagine if you then forgot that you don't have to, that you really just need your fork. Once you've used the knife, you don't need to bring the knife up. Just the fork is good. Yeah, things happen real quickly sometimes, folks. And
life comes at you fast.
Life comes at you fast. And so do knives. Knife comes at you fast, too.
That's true.
Hashtag knife comes at you fast. And
fast. I just want to give a quick shout out and a thank you to Justin Mickelson, Jack Casey, Joni Sod, Jacob Johnson, Tim Poland, who I believe is our newest donor, Kenneth Ebel, James E. Lee, Alex Boyer, Daniel Foss, Jennifer Morrison, the reason that this segment happens, personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, Jeff DePoy, Andrea O'Donnell, Robin, Renee, Dominic, Meg Jones, and Billy Pierce, because you guys are the real ones. You
are the real ones. You are what allow us to keep this beautiful muddied content going. So if you'd like to join that fantastic group of people who we will now name, we'll say your name.
Yeah, we will name you on the show.
You want me to say your name, then got to give me the... So let's... So we'll start with this first
for money.
Yeah, no, didn't.
And also to all the wonderful people who donate on YouTube. Thank you to all.
Yes, thank you as well. Thank you to everyone. You're all fantastic, and we love you. So here is our first one from Alex Boyer.
Hello, Alex from Virginia, calling in on the personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, Inc. call-in moment. I have a question today for the two of you, and I was hoping that maybe at least one of you two, hopefully both, are a little bit more knowledgeable about this than I am, but how is Dogecoin any different from fiat currency? There's no cap on how much is going to be made. You just get it. Like, this is the US dollar of cryptocurrency. Am I missing something here? Thank you.
No.
Have a good day.
No, it's a meme. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's
a meme.
I was at work the other day, and some of my coworkers were talking about crypto, and they were talking about Bitcoin and stuff. And one of the guys said, "Oh, I think you really need to buy some of the Dogecoin." And I said, "No, please don't do that. Please do not do that." And they asked why, and I said, "Well, there's no limit on how many can be made, and they're just going to continue making it. Don't buy that one." And so then they asked me which one they should buy. And I said Bitcoin and Ethereum. They said, "What about Ripple?" And I said, "No, don't buy that either."
Yeah, another. And I'm someone, well, I don't want to say that. It's really none of anyone's business what I do or don't have or previously had before my tragic computing accident. But it's a meme, guys. Like, I love you. I get so many Dogecoin to the moon messages specifically asking me to say Dogecoin to the moon. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to encourage people to do this, because this is like, it's not going to $1. It's not. I had someone that said, if it gets to 50,000, then I'll be a billionaire. Well, yeah, that's true. It can't go as high as Bitcoin because Bitcoin is scarce. Bitcoin also was the first one to be adopted, and its creator didn't make it as a joke. Dogecoin's creator made it to make fun of the fact that you can make a coin yourself easily. He intentionally made it where it wasn't scarce. Like, if you want to put $100, whatever is not a lot to you, $10, $100, $1,000, whatever amount is not much to you. If you want to put something in it, and if it gains, great. If it gets adopted as the international reserve currency, then you'll become rich. But it was fun to watch. The Wall Street Bets people literally invested and bought and sold it so that it would trace the outline of that famous Doge face with the ears. Like, it's a meme. And it's an incredible meme, but it's a meme.
Justico Mitchell in the comments says he's going to buy a whole ass Tesla when it hit $1. And I hope you do. I really do. I really hope you do. I hope everybody who's watching this show and everybody that listens to this show, if you invested in it, I hope you make all of the money in the world. I really do.
Yeah.
I really, really do.
Me too.
Many of you pay attention to this stuff and the ups and the downs. The people that I was talking to on that day, they probably heard about it on somebody posted about it on Facebook, and then they were like, oh, this must be the new Bitcoin. And these are not the people that should be doing that.
Yeah. No, I've met people that have said that they've put their entire financial future in Dogecoin, and I've tried to gently encourage them without venturing into financial advice territory, because I am not a financial advisor, nor am I licensed to be one. I've just pointed out the reasons why I haven't put my financial future in Dogecoin, and why some might say that it's a terrible idea. So no, Alex, you've not missed anything. It's a meme, bud. So here's another question, and this one says, sorry about the noise. So I can't wait to hear what this one sounds like, because the other one was,
Hello. Alex from Virginia calling in on the personal injury attorney, Chris Reynolds, attorney-at-law, anchor Colin moment. I have a question today for the two of you guys regarding the GameStop shorts and all that debacle that happened a couple weeks ago, and it's kind of still happening. I was talking with a coworker yesterday, and he brought up that he thought hedge funds should be illegal because their positions are often harmful to businesses, and they're betting on them to lose. I was just wondering where you guys would stand on that. Thank you.
Alex from Virginia, that better not have been turkey bacon.
Could turkey bacon sizzle for that long? It seems like it would dry up pretty quickly.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I guess it depends on how much you have going.
You put like a pound in there for the sound effect. If you set the markets free and get the regulatory agencies out of it, then hedge funds would return to being. Hedge funds have a legitimate purpose when they're not weaponized and manipulating the market. The purpose of a hedge fund is to provide a financial ability to short stocks that should be shorted, and to look at opportunities to gain and to make money off of it's sort of a creative destruction tool within the market. What's happened is that the hedge funds have made so much money on hedging bets that they now are able to control media, they're able to control regulatory agencies, they're able to control a lot, so that they're arguably one of the, if not the biggest player in the markets. And so they're able to, spread what they call FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the media about different stocks, and they play off of the manipulations that they do. Banks do this, big name stock traders do this, media figures do this, politicians do this. Anyone in positions of power that can get away with what is essentially manipulative insider trading. It's actually outsider trading because they create the conditions and then trade ahead of time based on the conditions that they have the power to create. That's the real problem. The GameStop thing is still going because if they can hold it over a certain level, the hedge funds past, I think, March, I forget the cutoff date, the hedge funds will lose a bunch of money. And so far right now they are still there. We'll see what happens. But this long term is not going to be able to be fixed or dealt with as long as the government has such a heavy, especially at the mostly the New York state level, but also at the federal level. The problem is the answer isn't to ban anything or to make anything illegal. It certainly isn't to raise fees because that'll just raise the barrier to entry and ensure that the big players are the only ones that are able to do anything. The answer is the opposite. Get rid of these absurd regulations, get rid of the barriers to entry so that everyone can get involved. The regulators aren't controlling things. Make it easier for people to become stockbrokers in the first place, so they're not having to use these handful of preferred stockbrokers like Robinhood had to use with what's the name of the company? Citadel. Open the market up and watch the good things that come from it. And what may happen is if the markets themselves become exclusive, great. Everyone will go over to more inclusive markets that can open up. But, if they get rid of some of the ridiculous restrictions and rules that are making it so difficult for people to enter the market, that'll fix the problem.
There's a fantastic conversation about bacon happening in the comments right now. People are arguing over turkey bacon being good or bad. Apparently there's bear bacon, and I would eat bear bacon.
I believe it. I've had beef bacon, which is incredible. Turkey bacon's it's not bacon. It's a processed turkey thing. Like it's no different than when you get like the cheap deli turkey. It's not like it's bad. It's just not bacon. It's a processed turkey product.
Patricia Marie said, why didn't they just call them turkey strips instead of turkey bacon? And that's the same reason they call it almond milk instead of nut juice.
Nut juice, nut water. Which, frankly, I mean, in this day and age, nut water may sell better than almond milk. Everything's a meme now.
It's true. Yeah. You sell nut juice in the stores? That's flying. I would buy that.
I gotta go grab some nut water. Tell me that's not going to sell well.
That's going to sell incredibly well.
It's everything is a meme now. So here's our next one from Matt, the Laser Legend Hicks.
Well, hello there, Guy on left and Spike. This is Matt Hicks calling on the personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, anchor calling moment, TM. I am currently in lovely Myrtle Beach with Spike Cohen and several other people, and I want to know what you guys think about Joe Biden deciding that blowing up brown people was okay. What?
This is Spikeception.
Yeah, this is Spikeception. Why is Joe Biden blowing up brown people? Hashtag Laser Legend.
So I was wondering if you were going to answer that, or like right there.
Oh, I probably should have, but I was having a very enlightening conversation there. So we had a meeting of the Horry County Libertarian Party, and I went to it, and it was in Myrtle Beach. And I get there, and Matt Hicks is there. And no, he doesn't live anywhere near Horry County. He just saw that it was happening. I love Matt. I was happy to see him there. And so he asked this question there. And quick answer to that question. Joe Biden's just carrying on the neocon tradition of using poor brown people as a scapegoat for the military-industrial complex. And it's really sad and predictable. There's not really a good answer. Or there's not really there is no additional answer.
He said that they were going to stay out of the Middle East and that we were going to be focused on China. And 1 month later, he was shooting bombs off in the Middle East. Like, I mean, it fits it fits who he is. It fits everything that he's voted for. It fits everything that he's ever stated before this election.
On this drone, we believe that Black Lives Matter, not brown ones though, and science is real, and whatever the other things are. But it's this is what we expected: intersectional feminist imperialism. And when you say when you say I'm against imperialism, people go, you're against people of color and women in positions of authority. And it's like, no, we're against war and murder and putting a black face on it. But even whether it was a black face or white face, we're against the war and mass murder part. And it's so predictable. Like every time I put up something now, against the war, people are like, I think we know the real problem here is that we have a black Pentagon chief and you don't like that. And it's like, yeah, no, that's my problem. It's not the mass murder that we've been against for the entire time Muddy Waters has existed. It's definitely that the new Raytheon exec running things is a black guy. That's definitely the problem.
Right.
What am I saying?
Especially for Spike Cohen.
Yeah. I would stab myself in the face before I'd be a racist, okay? Hey, racism, I got something for you, and then I stab myself.
So for anybody that wants to know, you are about $900 short on the salmon hot dog slab. Roughly $900.
Roughly
short.
$900 short. And meanwhile, that was supposed to be a week ago. You had a week, so technically you're 1,000 short. But yeah, no. Well, $900 between now and next episode. We will do the salmon hot dog slab.
Right.
So it's on you. It's up to you, America.
One more week. You got one more week.
You got one more week. 900 big ones. You can cash out some of that Doge coin.
Before everybody realizes it's a meme.
Yeah, do it now before everyone realizes it's a meme. It's funny. I was posting something about crypto. It was in my memories on Facebook. It was 4 years ago when someone brought up Dogecoin, and I'm thinking if I had bought Dogecoin then, I'd have a legit, if I bought $100 worth, I'd have a lot of money right now. But no. So here's the next one from Alex Boyer. It says to play this one first. So I will, because I do what I'm told.
Hello. Alex from Virginia calling in on the personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds, attorney at law anchor Colin moment.
Buddy,
last week you two discussed Donald Trump's team sending, quote, millions of pages over some legal dispute or whatever.
Where are you?
I just wanted to offer a little bit of perspective on what millions of pages of paper looks like. I was at work one time, and we had a 60-foot train car come in, and on it was pallets of copy paper. 12 cases on a pallet. These pallets are stacked too high, cramming every inch full of this 60-foot train car. That was 1.6 million pages of paper. It probably weighed like 125,000 pounds too, so that was cool. Also, why does the Swedish military use barcodes on their ships? So they can Scandinavian. That's a good one, right?
So that's really insightful about how many pages that is on a train. Donald Trump gave at least one train car worth of paper.
Yeah, I couldn't understand most of that, and all I heard was the pun at the end.
Oh, you didn't understand it? Okay, so here's what he said. For those who didn't hear it and only heard what he was saying is, so to put in perspective, when we were talking about how Donald Trump released millions of pages of his tax returns to the DA, or the AG, whichever it was, he was talking about a time that he had to unload copy paper from a train car, and it was 1.6 million pages they were able to fit in a train car, just stacked as heavy with pallets of paper, weighed 125,000 pounds. So yeah, they brought like tractor trailers filled with paper. Or it was all sent online and it was, like a terabyte of pages. or multiple gigabytes of pages. Either one of those is funny. I
Either
hope it was the
fun.
physical one.
Yeah, it's like when somebody pays for something in pennies.
In pennies.
Like they pay,
yeah. No, I hope it was
fine.
not because I'm a fan of Donald Trump, but just anything related to taxes, the tougher it can be made, the better.
Now, you and I were talking last night, as we are wont to do, and I told you about a meme that I saw. Somebody said was a QAnon theory that Donald Trump could technically run for House here in Florida, probably in District 10 of Miami. I'm not sure, but could run for House if he became Speaker of the House and then impeach Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. He would then be able to serve president and then be able to run again in 2024. Now, not a Trump fan. Anybody that's been watching the show for the last 4 years knows that. That would be so fucking funny. That would be so funny. Because could you imagine Donald Trump as Speaker of the House?
This is so here, guys. This is why this is not implausible. It is not uncommon for a president in the first midterm, like if they of their first term in the midterms, to lose the House to the other party. That is very, very, very common. It happened to Donald Trump. It happened to Barack Obama. It happened to George Bush. It didn't happen to, but George Bush was a weird case because it was right after, not right after, but it was in the post 9/11. Everyone, you couldn't really criticize Bush because he was carrying out the war against terror. So it was a weird dynamic there. It happened to Bill Clinton. It definitely happened to George Bush. Like, this is a common thing that happens.
Well, George Bush
Sr.
never had it. George Bush Sr. and Reagan. No, because when Clinton lost.
No, you're right. 92, because that was after the Gulf War.
That was after the Gulf, and it was like a 45-year span of the Democrats having the House. It was something like that. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah. So up in the I guess in the last 20 something years, the modern era, or the most recent era, the post-Bush era, for the last 4 presidents, I think that is, they lose the House. That is very, 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 very common. And if Trump ran in his district, he'd probably win it.
He would probably win that district.
And this sounds like a QAnon thing. I would not be surprised if this originated from a QAnon or something similar, but it is not implausible.
It is not implausible, and I don't like a lot of the QAnon theories.
Yeah.
And I don't think that this is an actual thing that's going to happen.
No. Trump. I don't think Trump would do it.
I'm not going to say I'm not kind of hoping for it.
If Donald Trump runs for the House, we know what he's trying to do. He will run on a platform of becoming Speaker of the House. If they get the majority, he will claim it's because of him and bully them into making him the Speaker of the House, which they will happily do. He just got 54% in a multi-person poll at CPAC straw poll for who they want for their next presidential pick. If he runs for Congress and gets it, they will make him. If they retake the majority, they will get Speaker of the House. Now, here's where it breaks down. He can start the articles of impeachment against Joe Biden, and they could probably pass it by a simple majority, although that might not happen. That part might not happen. What definitely will not happen is a conviction.
Depends.
It might or might not happen. But
right.
I'll tell you what's not going to happen. And that is a conviction of Joe Biden in the Senate. Because even if the Republicans win a massive blowout landslide in 2022,
and take back majority.
And take back the majority. They'd have to get 60. Actually, they probably have to get 70 seats because there's at least 2 or 3, non-Trumper Republicans in the Senate who are not going to just, impeach Joe Biden just because Donald Trump wants to be president without getting elected to it. That part's not going to happen. But Donald Trump as Speaker of the House is
Fantastic.
not impossible.
Fantastic.
And my gosh, you want to talk entertaining, because he will spend the entire time.
He would filibuster everything.
He wouldn't let anything through.
No.
Except for impeachment of Joe Biden.
Right.
On the most ridiculous of charges. Like, remember how his attorneys were in court, where they'd make all these crazy accusations publicly, and then when they go to court, they had nothing to back it up, and they didn't want to be tried for contempt or perjury, so they'd say, well, something could have happened. That would be him as Speaker of the House, except he doesn't have to actually take it to a court of law. He would just put out a bunch of it would be the most entertaining thing possible.
I'm the greatest speaker, the best speaker. There's never been another speaker like this. I'm telling you, while I'm standing up here, I've got the gavel. I've got the gavel. You have to sit.
Can you imagine him with a gavel? He'd have a gavel.
He'd have a gavel. He would gavel. AOC would stand up to talk. No, you have to sit down.
Gaveling you. Gaveling you.
The gavel. It would be the most entertaining Congress has possibly ever been. At
least since the Civil War, when they were attacking each other physically and stabbing each other.
Right.
And hitting each other with their canes. He would gavel them. He would just gavel them.
Otto von Bismarck, I sentence you to kiss my ass.
Gaveling you. You get the gavel. You're gavelled. Wow.
You're gavelled.
You're gavelled.
You're gavelled.
You're gavelled. Wow.
Like, somebody asked in the comments whether or not whether a former president has ever gone to Congress. I don't believe that they have. I don't think so.
You know what? That's a good question.
It is a good. I don't believe it's ever happened, and there have been multiple times where I questioned that in my youth, and I believe I was told no president would take that step backwards. Like, what would be the point?
Right.
And it makes sense, except in this case. In this case, it makes so much sense. It makes perfect sense. I would love to see this, because literally this would become watching that would become the most interesting thing on television. C-SPAN would be literally the most entertaining thing on television. Our show would be the most entertaining thing on the web. They would be the most entertaining thing on cable network. You should see my gavel. It's huge.
It's the best gavel.
My gavel.
Oh, and he would gold plate it. Oh gosh, because he wouldn't just use the usual gavel.
No. He would gold plate it. He would
gold plate the gavel.
Nancy would hand him the gavel, and he would break it.
No, I'm not taking this gavel.
Break it like she ripped up his speech. And then he'd bring out his own gold plated gavel. Sit down.
Sit down. This is my gavel now. I'm going to make. He'd already have a gavel.
Yeah, he'd have it in his pocket.
He'd break her. Well, I don't know how well you can break a solid oak gavel, but he would probably have someone with a bandsaw saw the gavel down, and then he'd take I have a much bigger gavel, and it'd be like size. It would be like markedly bigger, buffoonishly
it'd be like one of those
large gavel,
balloon hammer size things.
It might actually be smaller to make his hands look bigger.
Oh, that's a valid point.
It's got to be the gavel. His gavel would have to be bigger than her gavel. There's no
it'd
way.
have a bigger head, but a smaller handle. So like a sledgehammer kind of thing.
The likelihood of him doing this, so as far as I can tell, no one then there was a president who then became a Supreme Court justice. I believe Rutherford B. Hayes, but there's never been one who then took the step back of there's nothing stopping you. You can run for Senate, you can run for Congress, you can run for In fact, there was a movie with Ray Romano and Gene Hackman, where Gene Hackman was a previous president who ran for mayor of his city, and I was about to tell you what happened, but I won't tell you the spoiler. But anyway,
that movie that I don't remember the name of was a good movie. I enjoyed that movie. That was a good movie.
I'm gonna look it up now because I like that movie too.
I just remember in one of the debates, somebody said something about a stop sign because lights were shining into this woman's window.
Yeah.
And Gene Hackman was up there being all political about it, and he was like, "We're gonna put a stop sign there, or we're gonna get rid of it." I don't remember.
He said, "I'm going to create a blue ribbon panel to come up with the best possible solutions. Then we will bring in the finest engineers to great." Because the problem was that, man, we're on a rabbit hole. But the way that where they put a stop sign where the cars were at night stopping at it, their lights shine directly into the person's house, into like their bedroom or something. And so Gene Hackman said he was going to appoint a blue ribbon panel, and then that they were going to regrade the street if needed to make it so that it was, whatever, it was going to be this, huge thing. And then Ray Romano gets up and he's like, yeah, you could just
why don't you just come down to my hardware store and you can have you can get some blackout curtains. And
he was like, you could just get a blackout curtain and I'll help you put it up. I can come out there. You live on such and such street, right? Yeah, I'll come out. And it was like, oh, that would make way more sense. Right. So I don't remember what we were talking about. Oh, Donald Trump in the House. So we both hope he does this. Not going to happen. The likelihood of this happening is almost so let's do this. So we do these odds things. What do you think the odds are that Trump, you say in the comments what you think the odds are. Matt, what do you think the odds are that he will run for House?
I mean, 0. Like it's like 1 in a number so high.
I'm saying 5%, and here's why. He's plugged into all this QAnon conspiracy stuff, and he's got yes men around him and yes women who will tell him whatever they think he wants to hear so that they can stay in his good graces. It is not inconceivable that he could go up to them and be like, I think I could win the House, and then I become the Speaker of the House, and we can impeach Biden, and I become president, then I can run again in 24. And no one will be like, this is stupid. It's conceivable. Because all it takes is for him to decide he wants to do it. If he decides he wants to do it, he will almost certainly win his district.
Right.
Yeah, he'll almost certainly win. And then it really just becomes, do the Republicans take back the House or not? Because if they do, he 100% would become the Speaker. Like there's no one else will be made the Speaker. He will lose his gourd if he doesn't become Speaker, and they know it. So I'm going to say 5% that he does it. And then I don't know, 50-50 whether they take back the House or not. I think right now Republicans are so unpopular and so divided. I don't know that they could even take back the House from a wildly unpopular Joe Biden. But 2 years is a very long time.
I don't know. I mean, it's too early for me to make any guesses on that. It's too early for me to make any guesses on that. So I'm gonna not. But
so we got 3 more from Matt Hicks. Here's the first one.
Got it. I should have listened to this.
Well, hello there, guy on left and Spike. This is Matt Hicks calling in on the personal injury attorney, Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, anchor calling moment, TM. Man, it's been a while, right? God, seems like I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks since we've done this. What do you guys want to talk about? I don't know what I want to talk about today. Ooh, yes, I do. Let's talk about the deafening silence from progressives now that Biden's the one bombing brown people in the Middle East. Yeah, let's talk about that. Hashtag Loser Legend.
Now, I think it was I think it was last week it was last week where we gave some props to AOC for for helping out in Texas the way that she did, and how she has been standing up to Biden about the kids in cages. She has changed. Like, she's been doing that code switching, the political code switching, where she, instead of saying kids in cages, she's like, why are they in these licensed facilities? But she's at least she's standing up, which is more than I can say for most. And
she and Ilhan Omar are really the only two that are being consistent. Now when it comes to vote, when it's time to
when it's time to vote, they're going to vote with Biden.
Yes.
But when it comes to bombing brown children, no, I'm not saying that one. Nope, definitely not saying that one. When it comes to bombing brown children, they have been relatively quiet. Like, all of the progressives have been relatively quiet on this. And
yeah,
the anti, like, we didn't, because Muddied Waters wasn't a thing. But when Obama took over the presidency, the joke was that the anti-war left disappeared.
Yep.
And
yep. We see this every time the parties switch. We see these small government conservatives, either go into or come out of hiding, and they cross paths with the anti-war left. And then, of course, there are the deficit hawks of both the Republican and Democratic parties who also switch out. You'll recall all the Democrats that were rightfully and understandably upset about the deficit for the past 4 years, suddenly not anymore, which is weird. Even though some of the deficit was created while Trump was president, but now it just does not matter anymore. It's odd that would happen. The Republican hypocrisy is what it is, and that's not going away anytime soon. Here's the next one. Go ahead. Go ahead.
We were paid $5 on YouTube by J. Adam Weggs.
Thank you.
And thank you for that. And J. Adam Weggs, I will work on coming up with a sweet nickname for you. I don't come up with those on the spot. It takes me some time. But he asked for us to respond to the troll in the comments and about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson for Libertarian candidate for president. I am a person who normally does not vote for president anymore because I normally don't like the candidates. There is only one candidate that I would vote for president should he decide to run, and he's right there.
Oh, thank you. Here, this is my. Oh. So, thank you. And I appreciate that. I don't even know. I believe Dwayne is a progressive. He used to be a Republican. He strikes me as a centrist.
I honestly have no idea where he stands, but somebody in the comments keeps asking about it, and I was ignoring it, but we got paid $5 to say something. So
to answer it, so we're answering it now. That's how it works, folks. You want us to answer the trolley question?
We'll answer questions.
We will. 100%. Listen. If he wanted to join the Libertarian Party, he'd be more than welcome. And if it turns out that he's a hardcore principled libertarian, we already know that he's good at connecting with people, and you know what, he'd do a good. But I mean, why would he want to join a small third party? You know what? Maybe he'd want to join a small third party because he's that principled into libertarian ideas. Yeah, I don't. Out of curiosity, I'm going to look up Dwayne Johnson's political beliefs.
I think he voted for Biden. I know that. I mean,
really voting for either.
And if you voted for either of the two major candidates in this last election or the one before it, I don't see a way for me to vote for you for a libertarian president or as a libertarian candidate.
Yeah,
we have two comments back to back. One says he's a Republican. The other one says Rock is left. And they're like just right on top of
so
each
it
other.
turns out it looks like he is a centrist. He's registered as a Republican, or was yeah. He's a centrist. He's not a libertarian. Yeah, he's not a libertarian. Now, maybe he is a libertarian and doesn't realize it, but That's not my main goal in life, is getting Dwayne Johnson to run for president as a libertarian. Yeah. So, let's go to the next question from Laser Legend Matt Hicks.
Hey there, guy on left and Spike. This is Matt Hicks calling in on the personal injury attorney, Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, anchor call-in moment, TM. It's time for my bold prediction moment. So, Donald Trump's tax records for a period of time are now in the hands of a prosecutor in New York and under grand jury style secrecy. Here's my bold prediction. Very soon we are going to find out that Donald Trump was money laundering for the Russian mafia out of Little Odessa because he got himself in big time financial trouble some years ago when he was declaring bankruptcy over and over again and overextended himself personally. Yeah, we're going to find out that our former president was in the pocket of the Russian mob, and that's why he was so cozy with Putin. Hashtag Laser Legend.
It's a theory.
That is a theory. I don't know. Maybe.
I don't.
If it turns out that you are right, it would not be the craziest theory I have ever heard that was true. Yeah. The craziest theory I ever heard was a year before Tom Brady joined the Bucs. Somebody said Tom Brady's going to join the Bucs just so they can win the Super Bowl in Tampa. And I said, there's no way that's going to happen. And I was wrong. So I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. Maybe.
It could very well be. We will all see together. That would be entertaining too. Right. Especially if you were running for House and then became Speaker
of the House. And then it comes out and he's like, I've already got the gavel.
I'm gaveling that.
Mr. Speaker, you were definitely in the pocket of you're gaveled.
Yeah, gaveling you.
Gaveled.
You gaveled. All right, here's the last one from Matt.
Hey, Matt. Guy on right. This is Matt, also calling in on the personal injury attorney, Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, anchor call-in moment, TM. This isn't so much a question as like a dude, what the fuck? So the judge just declared that only one family member of George Floyd is allowed in the courtroom at a time during the trial of murderer cop.
Derek Chauvin. Yeah.
Dude, like, for real, this is, what the fuck?
So,
hashtag Laser Legend.
So I understand how this sounds. So I looked into this a little bit. The judge is only allowing one family member at a time from George Floyd to be in the courtroom. He's also only allowing one family member at a time from Derek Chauvin to be in the courtroom. He's only allowing two members of the press, not including court TV, which there can be one person with a camera and one producer in there. And then he put limits on how many people the state can have in there as far as lawyers, and how many the defense can have in there as far as lawyers, and all of the jury has to be socially distanced. So because of that, there is not a lot of room to pack the courthouse.
Because he's trying to do the social distance thing, but
so,
come on. The household could come together.
Yes. But I think that he had to make some decision. And again, not a fan of the state. He made the rules the same for everybody. And the fact that he limited the amount of media on top of it, which you don't want it to be a media circus like the OJ trial was.
Yeah.
But if you've got the jury, if they're all sitting 6 feet apart, that's not going to be like the jury box. That's going to be the court.
Do you think that's what it is he's trying to keep this from becoming an absolute circus?
Yes.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be the next Lancito. If you don't know who Lancito is, you're really young.
I was going to say, congratulations on not having to know that. Yeah, for those of us who are old enough to remember the OJ trial, I kind of get it. Now, here's something that I find equally or even more, actually more frustrating, is that the city council approved to spend taxpayer dollars to pay local influencers to give what they call city approved messaging about the trial and how it was proceeding. That, coupled with the extreme restrictions on the press in the courtroom, this doesn't sound good. And I don't think it's going to go the way they think it is.
I don't know. Well,
if they're thinking that restricting press coverage and paying people to give a pro-city response to everything, I think they're creating a powder keg.
Okay. I wasn't sure what you meant by this isn't going to go the way they think this is. I thought you were talking about the court case in general, but yeah, by them doing this,
how the city's going to respond. Yeah.
No, you are correct there. Yes. I wasn't sure how you thought the trial was going to turn out. I was like, I'm not sure.
I honestly don't know how
I have no clue. I don't even think they have an idea.
I mean, he's a murderer. We saw the video. I'm not a juror. I don't need to go through. I saw a video of him casually murdering George Floyd. They were there on a potential use of a counterfeit $20 bill or whatever. There was he was unarmed. He was not attacking them. There was no need for it. He already had his hands behind his back. The cop apparently knew him from before. This was a grudge thing. I watched him murder George Floyd either because of spite of the crowd telling him to get because I've met some authority figures who, when you say, hey, please don't do this, they do it harder because they can, and what are you going to do to stop them? It could have been that. It could, whatever it was. I watched someone get murdered, and I don't have to say otherwise. I don't know if he's going to get convicted. And the jury often, when the whole, the police, they don't know what could possibly happen and they're just trying to get home to their family. The jury will often defer to, the state who is the one prosecuting, saying, well, really, this is more of a negligent homicide, manslaughter, if you think about it. I don't know how that's going to go. I think that the city is a powder keg, and this makes it worse. Just put all the information out there and let people find out for themselves. This trying to game how people are getting info, I don't think that's going to go the way that they're hoping it will.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not there.
Yeah,
I am glad I'm not there. Somebody in the comments said, actually, I want to find it because I want to read it accurately. I think keeping people out of the courtroom will lead people to storming the courtroom. And that could definitely happen. That could definitely happen. And again, like he may just be using COVID as an excuse. I'm not sure what the laws are on COVID there. I'm not Texas went down to no restrictions today. Mississippi's going down to no restrictions tomorrow.
Minneapolis has some pretty strict restrictions, and Minnesota does at the state level. They do. I'm sure Minneapolis has even more. So, yeah.
So he may just be following local guidelines. He may just be using it as an excuse. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know, but yes, it is a powder keg waiting to blow depending on how this goes.
Yeah. This is going to be a very weird thing to see how they do. Heather Jean says, or Jean, I'm not sure I hope I didn't say your last name wrong, Heather. She said he won't get jail time guaranteed. I think he's going to get jail time. I don't know that he's going to get convicted of murder. I think he's going to get something.
I think he's going to get something because they have to. I think they have to. They have to. Because they know if they give him nothing, everything starts up again.
Oh, if they give him nothing or like probation or something like that, it's going to
Heather Jean.
Okay, Heather Jean. I think if that happens, Heather, I think if he gets like probation or like found not guilty, I mean, you think that the Rodney King riots were bad? This will be worldwide. Because George Floyd was murdered. And Rodney King, up until they had him just pummeling him, he had actually been fighting them. And then it turned into them just beating the crap. George Floyd was never fighting anyone. And I'm not saying Rodney King got what he deserved or anything close to it. They went far too far. But both the reason why it started and the outcome are not comparable with George Floyd. George Floyd was not fighting anyone, and he died. So, yeah. This is... Yeah, that's really bad. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Now, speaking of seeing what happens... We saw what happened in the House of Representatives, or actually in the Senate, with the fight for 15, otherwise known as the fight to make the cost of living go up and millions of Americans lose their job. Matt?
I think 11 million Americans would lose their jobs, I believe.
Yes.
So last Thursday, literal moments before our show last week, Biden shot missiles into Syria. Like literal moments. Spike texted me.
As we were getting ready. Yeah. Yep.
Right. As we were getting ready, he was like, I'm going to call you in a second. I was like, great. And then he goes, Biden just fired missiles in Syria. And he said Iraq. And then I looked and I was like, Syria? And he said, yeah, Syria. I don't know why I said Iraq. And I said, okay. And oddly enough, about that same time, literally that exact same time, Senate parliamentarian Elizabeth McDonough ruled that the new $1.9 trillion stimulus bill provision to hike the federal minimum wage to $15 per hour could not be part of the coronavirus stimulus package under the budget reconciliation process. Now, before we get into that and kind of the fallback on that, some things I've learned about the stimulus package, especially the 15. Did you know that it would have included service industry? All waiters and waitresses would get $15 an hour.
So right now, they're like tipping.
There would be no more tipping.
They would end tipping.
So for anybody who's never worked in the service industry, which I have for years, for many restaurants, it's razor thin margins, for like the first 5-6 years. And then they start being able to keep a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. But a lot of that's due to the fact that they are paying their servers, some places, $2.13 an hour.
And they get paid on their tips. Yeah.
Right. They get paid on their tips. And if they don't make minimum wage with the tips that they get, the restaurant has to make that up. But pretty much everybody does.
Yeah.
Pretty much everybody does. If you were to make it $15 an hour for every server, all of the food prices across the board would skyrocket.
Yep.
You and you're not anymore. But you also wouldn't be
tipping
service
anymore
because you don't have the hungover guy trying to make money for his beer run tonight.
You would now be going up to everywhere would be Subway or Chipotle or what. There would be no more use unless you're in a high level restaurant. If you're a normal human being who isn't a millionaire and you're not eating at millionaire restaurants, you're going in, you're walking up to a thing, you're saying what you want, you're getting your own drink, which if that's what you're for, that's fine. Also, it'll cost a lot more, like all of that. And there will be probably fewer employees, and you'll be doing more of the work. So you'll be paying more for the food and you'll be doing more of the work yourself, really as much as possible.
Chick-fil-A would not go up.
Chick-fil-A would not go up.
Chick-fil-A would not go up because I think they start everybody at $15 an hour.
It's in the double digits. I know that it wouldn't really affect Chick-fil-A too much. But most restaurants, your food price would go up. And like, for example, you go to Chipotle, more than likely you're getting the meat and you're getting prepackaged stuff. You're getting the meat, you're getting the taco. You got to make it yourself. Like everything's going to be more. You do more work and you pay more for it. If that includes the service industry. Also, on page 305 of the bill, it has a provision that would pay any federal employee, not you, but any federal employee who has a child not in school due to COVID, $1,400 a week for up to 15 weeks. That's $35 an hour additional to what they already make, even if they're not working. So suddenly, federal employees don't want the schools to reopen.
Now, and in this bill, this is the same bill that they're giving you $1,400 for.
Once.
Yeah, ever. That they're filling out the 2,000 that Donald Trump was promising, or whatever it is that their excuses. And now in it, on page 305 and 306 of the bill, it says that federal employees who are, and it doesn't just say children who aren't in school because of this, it is any federal employee who is taking care of somebody who is either sick or laid out because of COVID, including children who are not going to school. I believe something like that is the exact terminology. And that is $35 an hour for up to 600 hours that they are giving to federal employees who are in this situation where you, who have been sitting at home for, hang on a second, a year, unable to run your business, unable to go to work, unable to do any of this stuff, constantly getting crushed by debt. And they have given you now, what will be the total after this? 36, 30, 40. No, my math is really bad.
1,400 for 15 weeks. Hold on. Let me do the math on that.
They've given us something along the lines of
$21,000 in addition to all the other stuff they're getting and their full-time pay. Because if you're a full-time worker for the federal government, then you're still getting paid even if you can't work.
Yeah.
That's just a huge sop to federal employees.
Yep.
Now, progressive House members are not happy with the Senate parliamentarians' decision that, and just to give a little bit of background on this, what she is saying is that because this is something that would have to originate from the Senate, so it can't be done as part of reconciliation, and it could not pass by a simple majority. It would have to be passed by a filibuster-proof majority. It can't be done through, so basically they don't have the numbers to be able to do that. So by her saying that it can't be done that way, she's basically saying you're not going to get your minimum wage increase. Now, understandably, progressive House members are not happy with her decision that really goes 100% with what their own rules say about how bills are originated. But they don't like her decision because it affects them. And they're petitioning for Biden and Harris to overturn the Senate parliamentarians' ruling. Some are even going further, saying that she should be fired over the decision, which is something that Republicans did back in 2001, back when they didn't like their parliamentarians' ruling, saying that the tax cuts couldn't be passed by reconciliation. So this does have some precedent, but the last time it was used, it was for you to not get robbed as much. Quite as much. Now it's for you to get robbed way more, and for you to lose your job possibly too.
Right. Biden and Harris have stated that they will respect the ruling of McDonough, and that's angering a lot of the progressives who said you ran on a platform, and part of that platform was $15 an hour. Now you need to deliver $15 an hour, and yes, they're right.
Yes.
But they also ran on a platform of Black Lives Matter and defund the police, and that got tossed way to the wayside.
Before he even got inaugurated, he called all the civil rights leaders together to tell them to hell with you. Like he literally said to hell with you to them, and then told them why he wasn't going to do anything he promised. He's thrown out his, being better on the border. He's actually expanded the number of children that are going to be in cages. He certainly has, backtracked on not being a warmonger in the Middle East. Pretty much all of his promises. He even said, if you vote for me, you get $2,000. Well, that turned into $1,400. And now this.
Now, the Senate is planning on passing this bill this week. They did at one point promise a plan B. And that plan was to tax big corporations that do not pay their workers a high wage, but they aren't going to be putting that in either.
Yeah.
And honestly, like right now, the only reason that these things aren't being put in is Joe Manchin. Possibly Kristen Cinema.
Kristen Sinema, yeah. Well, but here's the thing, though. Ultimately, that's why this isn't going in. The minimum wage increase isn't going in because it wouldn't pass the parliamentarians' muster. But this part isn't going in because they wouldn't even get a majority if they put this in. Although here's the thing:
the $15 an hour, I don't think would have passed. I don't think Manchin would vote for it. It would destroy West Virginia.
I'll tell you. Well, it would. But here's the thing: taxing big corporations that don't pay minimum wage, they're the ones calling for it. I was actually on a gosh, what was that? Oh, I was on a talk show, a political talk show based out of Chicago, and it was me and a conservative and a progressive, and me and the progressive agreed that if anyone should be paying a minimum wage increase, it should be those big businesses that keep calling for it. You know, we agreed that small businesses can't afford this; it'll put them out of business. So hey, you know what? If Walmart wants to pay $15 an hour, okay, great, make them. If Amazon wants to keep calling for it, good, make them do it. Don't make the mom and pops that have been out of business for months and struggling to get by, make them do it. Make Walmart and Amazon do it. But the problem is that's the foot in the door. They do it and then they go, well, it's not fair that we have to do it, and then it gets passed on to everyone else too. So yeah. But progressives, here's the thing. The progressives that are complaining right now about this bill and how terrible it is and how blah, 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 and everyone should be fired, guess what they're going to do?
They're going to vote for it.
They're going to vote for it.
Right. Just
they're
like
going to go,
AOC
we can't let perfect. Yep, exactly.
Just
we
like
can't
AOC
let
will vote for
perfect be the enemy of good. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So this bill is going to get passed. It's going to get passed probably this week, and then the House will vote on it again early next week. And then Biden will sign it Wednesday to Friday of next week, I'm guessing. And no $15 an hour, no tax hikes. The House will fall in line and not make any changes to the Senate bill just to get it through. So that way they can say, look, we did something. We gave all of you $1,400, unless you're a federal employee, in which case you got $1,400 a week.
Which is just astounding because they're already getting paid even if they're not working. It's just amazing to me. I'm not surprised. I'm just amazed at how they do this so blatantly and wantonly. And if you talk to the average person, they'll either say, well, yeah, but at least it's not Donald Trump. Or they'll go, yeah, Donald Trump won in a landslide and we got to take back from the reptilians. Like no one is...
Yeah.
So, folks, what a great episode this was. Started with me being stabbed. And as we said at the beginning, be sure to like, subscribe, comment. Well, you've already been commenting, but share this everywhere. Like us, subscribe to us, follow us, hit the bell if we're on YouTube. What else here do we do? Go to Anchor FM to leave us messages and donate. And, oh, yeah, Matt. Well, first of all, join me tomorrow on My Fellow Americans. I will have Doug Bandow with the Cato Institute, who will be talking to me about state repression of religious minorities and other foreign affairs issues. We'll be talking about that. That'll be a good talk. And then join us next week right here. Tuesday, same muddy place, same muddy time, for another fantastic episode of the Muddy Waters of Freedom, where Matt Wright and I parse through the week's events like the sweet 2020 Wonder Boys that we are. Matt, if someone were to try to find... No, you can slap me with a salmon hot dog. We got to raise $900. $900, and I will get slapped with a... And I'll be healed up by next week. This will be fine.
Yeah,
$900. Boom, boom, boom. I'll make the hot dog myself. I'll even do updates throughout the week if we're getting close. Of like me making the salmon hot dog. Because they don't, like, there isn't a store that sells them. I'll have to take salmon and make it into a hot dog.
Right.
So, Matt, if someone was to try to find us on the internet, is that even possible? And if so, how?
It is possible. If you were one of those old school people who like the sweet, sultry, dulcet tones of our voices, I feel bad for you.
Hi,
but you can find us at anchor.fm/muddiedwaters.
Anchor.fm. You can also leave us messages there.
And you can also donate money.
Yes.
We aren't saying that we will love you more if you donate us money, but we will say
never
your
say
name on
that.
the show.
We'll definitely do that. This is a moment that we can have together.
We will definitely say your name on the show if you leave us money.
Hey, everybody.
At anchor.fm/muddiedwaters.
Hey, do you like that? There are people that like this. I don't know if you're one of them.
Oh, it's weird. I don't know why.
This is weird. And then okay? You can. No, but
I think that everybody here should comment and tell their friends, or share this video and tell their friends to hang out until the ASMR section.
No, press this. There we go.
You can like, share, comment, subscribe. And if you you can find this and every other episode at muddiedwatersmedia.com.
Where they get cut off there, but that's an M.
That's an M on the end. It's not .co because we're not in England. And you can get your Waffle House buttons at muddiedwatersmedia.com. And become a member of the Waffle House.
It's hard for me to press all these things at the same time, Matt. Come on.
I know.
This is tough.
This is now becoming a fun game for me. Again, you can find this and every other episode at muddiedwatersmedia.com. Yep.
Right there. .com.
Right there.
It's an M at the end. Folks, thanks so much for tuning in. Yeah, we're circling back. Thanks so much for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow on the My Fellow Americans. We will see you next week on the Muddy Waters of Freedom. We didn't do a mixtape. Here, I'll do a mixtape clue. What's a mixtape clue?
It's not on Gab.
It's definitely not on Gab.
Not on Gab.
It's not on Gab. It's way too Semitic to be on Gab. No, it's not on Gab. It's not on MeWe. You're not. The biggest clue is you're not going to find it. But we are in discussion about how to release it. Sensitive to the fact that it's very, very, very vulgar.
It's very early 2000s hip hop and rap.
It's late 90s, early 2000s hip hop. And like the worst of it. It's not Puff Daddy.
I saw a Vermin Supreme tweet the other day no, I'm not going to tease that. I saw a Vermin Supreme tweet the other day, and it may have been today, I'm not sure, where he said, at this point in my presidency, I've done this, and I've released one very elusive mixtape. I don't remember what the first two were, but I just thought the last one was really funny.
Yeah, no, if he were president, the mixtape would have been released.
Right.
100%. This was pre-Paul Wall. But worse.
I don't even know who Paul Wall is.
He's a rapper.
I assumed.
Yeah, no, it's pre-Paul Wall. So, folks, thanks again for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow night, and then we'll see you again next week. And thanks for watching. $900 to go for Spike to smack himself with a salmon hot dog. This is our life. This is what my life is like. Okay, so we got $898 to go. Thanks,
that's
Adam.
for OnlyFans.
Oh,
that's for
$900 to go. You know what? I'll apply it. We got $898 to go, folks. Thanks again for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow and next week. And where we're going,
we don't need roads.
Well, it's about time. I'm here. I am the one. Raise your voice. I'm the Jubilee. Ken Copeland, you pay attention to me. I'm 83 years old. Get up. Be careful about what you say I am. I'm your financier. I'm your supernatural debt canceller. brother Copeland. Would you think a poor person should give? Absolutely. I'm a new person. I'm a new man. I'm a new woman. Oh, I like that. I'm a new boy. I'm a new girl. Oh, I confess that I'm here. I am the one. Raise your voice. I'm the Jubilee. Ken Copeland, you pay attention to me. I'm 83 years old. Get up! And you go around saying I'm healed. But you hypocrite, you're not healed. You're just saying that trying to get somebody to give into your ministry. I am. It's not time to stop tithing. And tonight we are going to invest in this ministry. I'm a new person. I'm a new man. I'm a new woman. Oh, I like that. I'm a new boy. I'm a new girl. Oh, I confess that I'm here. I am the one. Raise your voice. I'm the Jubilee. Ken Copeland, you pay attention to me. I am. Put it in reverse. Raise your voice when I've released that power. Whoa! I'm here. I am the one. Raise your voice. I'm the Jubilee. Ken Copeland, you pay attention to me. I am.